over social media and in most of our major papers is talks of xenophobia, South Africa, and what's not, right? Why? Because yesterday was meant to be the deadline that the so-called anti-immigrant protesters set for, the repatriation of African immigrants in their country. Now, they were initially started out as fighting against illegal immigrants in their country. Then slowly it turned into, oh no, this is our country, we don't want you here, whether you are here legally or illegally. Now, the deadline has come and gone. What's next? Well, what's next is that they have postponed it to the 4th of November. I think they're not giving us enough time to leave their country.
Who is us? I'm not a Mongol.
I mean, are you not a Nigerian? Your brothers and sisters are there. Well, what? So they're giving us enough time to pack our bags.
I'm trying not to get myself involved, but
this way to be Africa must go. We need an Africa must go. Since we have a Ghana must go, we need an Africa must go, right? Just something cute. Hopefully Balenciaga and the rest do not steal it. But anyway, that's what we have for you this morning. But more importantly, Nigeria is taking steps to sue the South African government. Yes, because look, some of our people were there legally, right? They made homes, built businesses, they made a family in South Africa. Then unfortunately, due to what's happening over there, these people had to forcefully leave everything they toiled for over the years behind and come to Nigeria and start all over again. I know some of you here were making fun of them that, who asked them to leave? No matter how bad Nigeria is, you need to build Nigeria and whatnot. Look, some people like to travel. Other people want to build. I mean, how do you think we make foreign exchange? I mean, how do you think, remittances that the government is, gaining so much from? How do you think that happens? It's from your families, your loved ones living abroad, sending money into the country. So in as much as we want to, be sarcastic and be like, oh, why did they leave their country and not build these resources, these businesses in Nigeria? Not everybody's meant to stay in one place. Some people love to travel. Other people fall in love, either with places, with people, and then they're like, oh, you know what? I think I would like to settle down here. Okay, I said it here that we've become a global village. The world have become a global village. We are interconnected. So however we want to paint it, look at it from, it's just logical. Now, Nigerian government wants to sue South Africa. Ghana government had already taken steps in suing them in the international court, for what they're doing. I want to know your take on that. But before that, Christopher, good morning to you once again.
Good morning once again. It's quite unfortunate that we got to have this in Africa. I mean, we're supposed to be united, not just a continent, just united people. We've had the relationship between Nigerians and South Africa, for South Africa and the rest of the world, football-wise and every other business that we do together. I mean, even in Nigeria, one of the most thriving businesses in Nigeria are owned by South Africans. So that's how much we embrace them. And to hear this from South Africa, the moment I even heard it, I'm like, it doesn't really make sense. But I just really cannot understand fully why they hate us this much, why they hate other Africans this much. I
think it's projection.
All right.
They don't hate us, they don't hate Africans, they hate themselves. If they look at that's why I feel like if they look at other Africans, they see what they lack in themselves, right? They see, like, okay, you guys have a country that feels like home to you, where you don't have to share it or share it with white people who claim to be South Africans, and yet you're still here taking our little resources. Go back to your country.
I heard Excel this morning, and he sounded more like a South African when he said, "Leave your country, don't come to my country."
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I heard him say that, and I was like, "Oh, really? Have you been in South Africa before?"
Excel.
I have friends who came back to Nigeria on Tuesday.
Okay.
That was yesterday. I had some that came back on Sunday from South Africa. And, I don't know what this chief is asking me to do, but it is well. You can do it yourself.
Leave our country.
No. They had shared the experiences, they shared the experiences with me, and perhaps that was where I picked up some of the extra lingua thing from, the way they talk.
Oh, the way they talk.
The way they talk. They say, we're Nigerian, and they say, we're the country, we're taking their jobs, we're taking their men and women, you know. Now, this is it. Unfortunately, South Africa is, in my view, reeling from the effects of an appetite they never fully recovered from.
Yeah.
Do you get? The thing about having their own country run by strangers left a deep scar and a trauma with them. Now, the old ones who lived in the days of the Mandelas have passed this on to generations after them. And unfortunately, it was passed down unfiltered, where there is now an inherent fear of anything that begins to take the semblance of what happened during the appetite. What was appetite? You had strangers running the country. You had strangers controlling the economic resource of the country. You had strangers even taking your wives and daughters by force. Now, bring it to the Nigerian story, and not just Nigeria, but other countries, right? We've had people who have come into South Africa to do business. And you know that Nigerians are forcefully business-minded. Forcefully, I mean here most respectfully, because a Nigerian gets into this community and the Nigerian spots a problem and decides to fill that gap. South Africans want to have a good time, a good life. I mean, they have good songs, melodious voices, and that for them is life. But the Nigerian says no and finds life there, you know. So that for me, I think, is a trauma response. Same with other countries that have come in there and are doing very well. That's how I view the problem from the roots. Yeah.
I mean, you actually touched on it beautifully. Like I said, it's not that they hate African countries. What they do is that they hate themselves. It's like projection. But before we continue with the conversation, let's go pay some bills. Like I said, it's quite important. Okay, that's why we keep the conversation coming. So don't go anywhere. It's still Real Talk here on Wave 91.7 FM. You're everything on PlayStation. Don't go away.